The story that's been sort of dominating our world. I look after foreign exchange, as you know, and we've just been writing about nothing but the EU crisis.
The European financial crisis.
Where are you heading? Are you wearing to celebrate the fact that your biases might be in one direction? Some Ben Franklin's there. Very nice.
I was down yesterday interviewing Jim Grant of Grant's Interest Rate Observer,
Jim Grant,
who of course is a big gold bug. Yeah. So I thought I'd wear my fiat currency tie, but it didn't.
He would prefer you to have a big gold bar hanging around your neck.
That's exactly right. I was going to wear, gold bullion, but
it would have weighed you down a bit. I think
the cost was prohibitive.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about the European financial crisis, as we all are, and I realized that it's making me feel like I'm an idiot. Now, of course, many readers may say, well, this, we've been saying this for years.
You open the door wide open there, Brett.
But I feel like a fool. I've been watching this and I'm going, it's sort of like watching a board game where someone hasn't explained the rules to you and everything is very baffling. And the longer it's gone on, I thought it would become clear, and the longer it's gone on, the more questions I have. And I don't think... I've been talking around, I've sort of been going out to people and plucking at their sleeve and asking them privately these things, and no one else knows the answers.
Right. So these questions are?
Well, I mean, my current favorite question really is, if Greece is going to be allowed to pay 3.5% interest on its loans as a reward for defaulting,
right,
why would the Irish continue to pay 7.5% interest as their punishment for not defaulting?
Right.
For that matter. The same for the Italians. The same for, I mean, we talk about the risk of contagion because when we talk about contagion, people usually mean, the hedge funds are going to go after the next country, the next country after that. Whereas actually, you could also say, well, isn't there contagion also could work in the sense that the people, if 3 months or 6 months from now, Greece has been sort of reinflated by its default and by revaluation, lower interest rates, and their economy starts picking up. At some point, the people of Ireland may say,
"Me too.
I want a piece of that." What's going on here?
Well, it's clearly a major concern. I mean, in the sense that the European officials do talk about this all the time. About how I, like you, I'm not quite sure that they've come up with any solution as to how to do that.
Yeah. But, listen, that's not the only question I have. I mean, I am astonished that they are essentially rigging this default so that they hope it doesn't trigger the credit default swaps. Well, credit default swaps are insurance contracts that were purchased for whatever reason, and there may be some speculators may have bought them, and some people may have bought them for perfectly sound, honorable reasons. And the reality is they're purchased from somebody else who was willing to sell the contract. And the European Union is basically intervening and stealing money from the people who bought the insurance contracts and transferring it to the people who sold them. Well, I mean, how can this possibly be justified?
Well, the other question behind it is, if in fact that's what you're doing to that market, what does it do to the future risk appetites of people who want to buy bonds? If in fact you use this as a hedging mechanism, you don't trust that mechanism anymore.
That's exactly right. It's as if you invalidated flood insurance, and then hope people were going to go out and buy houses in a flood area.
You know what the Europeans would say to you? They would just simply say, look, of course, there is collateral damage through this process. We're sorry, there has to be losers and winners. In this case, we think the lesser of two evils is to blow up the CDS market and ruin that, rather than the entire economy.
I'm not saying that.
I mean, how would you avoid a CDS contagion event, for example?
I wouldn't. I mean, there are more fundamental questions about it. I mean, I don't understand, for example, why the Greeks don't just leave the EU. They should never have been, the currency, the monetary union, not the EU itself.
It has a lot to do with how do you make the paper things like that one around your neck.
Listen, it's relatively easy to...
Is it?
Yeah, there are technical problems. I'm not saying you could do it in an afternoon, but it's manageable. Greece could leave the currency union and relaunch the drachma. They should never have been in monetary union. They lied all the way along about that.
I think there's a few doubts about the fact that they should never have joined.
I don't understand why the European Union decided to draw the line in the sand around Greece, which was indefensible, rather than Ireland, which was much more defensible. They've totally shot their credibility. Yeah. We've spent 2 years telling us Greece would not default, and here we are, as far as I can tell, Greece is defaulting. Yeah. It's absolutely fascinating.
Lots of spilt milk, I think, without a doubt. There's no doubt that they've screwed this up along the way, but whether or not they can get out of it, I don't know.
Well,
that's all we have time for now. One day we'll have those questions answered. I'm not quite sure they're going to happen in a hurry.
I'll come on.
All right.